I was taking pictures in Bangladesh on one of my trips, and a 14-year-old 14-year-old kid came along, and his two legs were folded right underneath him, and so he was effectively walking on his knees. And on the gravel and everything else. I'm thinking to myself, boy, that must hurt. But he came along and he sat on the pails that we had set up for the pictures, and we took his picture. And then after the picture, I went over and I picked him up and I carried him over to the bus and put him on the bus that he was going home on, rather than him walking on his gravel again. I found out that he had polio, and that's what happened to his legs. And, you know, I had seen many of these kinds of things before, but I don't know why in this case I came back home and I would wake up in the middle of the night and it would bother me. I could picture Chad walking on his knees on this gravel, and it bothered me. So I ended up contacting a doctor that I had met over there in Bangladesh. He ended up contacting a couple of his friends, and we arranged to have Chad had 3 or 4 different operations, and then he went to a rehab place, and I was going back a year later. This was about a 9-month to 10-month process for all of his operations and his therapy. When they found out I was going back the next year, they held Chad in therapy because he lived like 10 hours away. And 10 hours, it's really not that far mileage-wise, but the roads are so bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, they found out I was coming back, and so they kept Chad there, unknown to me. So when I do end up going back, I've been to Bangladesh enough times that I had an approximate idea of the road from the airport to where we normally stayed. And we didn't seem to be going that way. And so we ended up at this place. It turned out to be the rehab place, and the people we were with come out and says, Clarence, I want you to meet somebody. So we get in the car and we walk inside, and we're walking down the hall, and we meet Chad coming to walking to meet us. It was just one of those, they say, aha moments. It was just phenomenal to give a kid his life back. And Chad has since, we've kept in touch, he's since married with 2 kids, and has a little business of his own now. And so there's all kinds of stories like that. You know, we had a little girl who was severely burnt, practically from head to foot. We inquired about her and found out that when she was 3 years old, or about 3 years old, she was home in her shack. Her mom and dad had gone digging through garbage bins to find food. And they had a little propane heater in their shack that blew up. So she was literally burnt. And so, you know how skin tightens up when it's burnt? She couldn't get her jaws to move. She couldn't eat. It was all burnt and scarred all underneath her chin. And so she was strictly eating or drinking from a straw. It's the only thing she could do. And so we managed to get her into a hospital, had a number of operations done to be able to get her jaws going. And we did that, and once again, we seen her again the following year, and she was doing much better. She had put on weight, etc., etc. So there's all kinds of individual stories like that that are, to me, I've always said that it's too bad that more people here couldn't see how little it takes to help these people. You know, walking through a slum in Bangladesh, and the women are carrying pails of water on their head. And so I say to Sultan, why are they doing that? How often do they do that? And he said, well, it depends on how often they do laundry, how much it rains, etc., etc., etc. And he said that, and I said, isn't there any water here? And he said, we don't know. We've never tried. Nobody's got any money to dig a well, so we don't know. And I said, what's the cost to dig a well? And he said, $60. $60 American. And I said, Sultan, I don't believe it. And he said, give me $60. I gave him $60 Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. Friday afternoon, I went back there. They poured a cement slab, about an 8x8, and in the middle of it, they had one of those big hand pumps. And I pumped water out of that well. I could not believe it to this day. It just blows my mind. And because I feel there's literally tons and tons and tons of people who would gladly give $60 to dig a well
Yeah.
if they knew it was going to get there.
Are you recording?